So, what do you want for Christmas? Is one of the most hated anxiety-inducing questions every anti-gift receiving person dreads. No one ever believes us when we say we don't want anything. They insist that they have to get us something, that we can't go empty-handed, particularly at Christmas. So when we eventually concede, we throw a bone and we ask for some understated consumable gift, such as soap or food, we are never listened to or taken seriously, and we end up always facing the thing that we don't want. Gifts. And you know what, I get it, because I love buying gifts for people. I love planning the lists and wrapping the presents. Actually, no, I hate that, but I love making them. And I love, posting them and putting thought into organising these personalised gifts for people. However, everyone I give gifts to likes receiving them, whereas I don't. Now, for many years, I've lacked the vocabulary for my dislike of gifts, particularly when I was younger. Of course, children enjoy receiving toys, but it did get to a point, early teenage years, when I began receiving things I never wanted or asked for, purely for the sake of the gift giver saving face, and it made me feel uncomfortable. So from early tweenhood, I realised that the vast majority of gift giving was motivated by a sense of moral obligation not to leave someone out. It was more about saving face than genuine love, and I began to resent the hollowness of gift giving. And over time, I stopped wanting anything at all. But just because I don't like receiving gifts doesn't mean I don't love giving them. And that's where the conundrum comes in. People don't take me seriously when I say I don't want anything because they feel guilty if I were to gift them something because they did want something, and then they haven't given me anything because I didn't want something. And the only reason they feel this way is because of this obligatory nature of gift giving that has been ingrained into our psyche by morally contorted capitalism. Gifts are seen as a tit for tat because capitalism is that way. You don't get anything without earning it or paying for it. So if one receives a gift and doesn't return the gesture, they feel a degree of guilt and unworthiness on the plane similar to that of stealing from capitalism. Capitalism has taught us that we are not worthy of receiving without paying back in some way, whether that's with our time, our labour or money. It goes against our economic social system to be a recipient without also being a giver. And anti-gift recipients, such as myself, are seen as self-hating martyrs who are only saying no due to a crippling sense of unworthiness or as a desperate cry for attention. People often assume a lack of desire to receive gifts indicates an unhealed trauma wound, in need of affection, soothing or mending, so they take it upon themselves to prove us wrong and heal our childhood traumas relating to gifting. But I'm afraid most of that effort is rather wasted, because no, it's not always trauma. Sometimes it is, but it's not really always trauma. It's very rarely. Some of us just don't like getting gifts for multiple reasons. For some of us, it feels really awkward and uncomfortable receiving gifts. Like for me, receiving a gift and opening it has the same degree of humiliation as the unease of being sung happy birthday to around a table of strangers. And for the vast majority of anti-gift recipients, there's very little darkness or insidious logic behind not wanting a gift. Most times, it's just because we have a different love language. So love languages obviously include physical touch, quality time, acts of service, receiving gifts, and words of affirmation. For anti-gift recipients, gifting is the bottom of our love language. But no one ever takes the time to actually ask us and learn our love languages, so instead, they force theirs upon us. People who give gifts but don't like receiving them aren't doing it for a power trip. They're not doing it to look superior. They're not doing it to keep track of everything they brought you and then hold it against you at a later date, nor will they think they're better than you. The only reason they don't want gifts is because their love language is different from yours. So rather than forcing people to accept gifts because that's your love language and not theirs, perhaps ask them how you can make Christmas special according to their love language. So for me, my love language is quality time. So I would much rather spend a day at a museum with someone, or play a game with them, or meet them up for coffee, than buy me a present at all. Your loved one may adore acts of service, so rather than buying them a gift, you can ask if they want some help around the house, or help them run a few errands, or if they have children, offer to babysit them one night so they can go out. If their love language is words of affirmation, they may really appreciate a handwritten letter, or even a poem or personalised story. And I know it must be a hard pill to swallow when you love buying gifts for people, and when the person you want to buy a gift for doesn't want anything and doesn't like getting gifts. But I have these people in my life. I have a cousin and a few friends who never want presents. So when it comes to gifting, I donate money to a charity of their choice in their name as a gesture, and that's always usually appreciated. However, I do that because I understand their discomfort. The vast majority of people in their lives, like those in mine, don't enjoy the discomfort of not giving physical gifts, so they refuse to donate money to charity in their name. Or if they do it, they'll throw in a couple of gifts on top of it because to make up for it. I feel like it's so essential for us to move away from this capitalist-driven necessity of love language equals buying gifts, because it is being enforced on people whose love language it does not compute with, and that's unfair. I mean, if your love language is gift giving and you want to buy something for someone like me, who's an anti-gift recipient, because you are scared of looking neglectful or inconsiderate, stop. If you really care and love someone, you would respect their answer. If someone doesn't want anything, or they ask you for something very small or consumable, listen to them and respect their reply. You may think not buying someone a gift who buys you something makes the relationship unequal, but it doesn't. What does make a relationship unequal is ignoring someone's wishes and insisting that their needs and wants aren't worth acknowledging or abiding by because it makes you feel uncomfortable. Final thoughts. So there are some people out there who will say, oh, there are people out there who say they don't want anything and then they get upset when they don't receive anything. That may happen, but it is very, very rare. I'm not saying it never happens, but it tends to be a trope in films or comedy sketches rather than reality. When someone says they don't want anything for Christmas, listen to them and respect it, and then work on yourself concerning your feelings of guilt when receiving a gift without reciprocating. Your feelings of guilt and unease in not gifting someone who has given you something says more about your lack of self-worth and relationship with capitalism than it does about them. And that's probably worth exploring rather than bandaging up with a temporary solution of thrusting gifts upon the unwanting recipient. Thank you very much for watching. If this video sounded more awkward than usual, it's because my lower lip is stitched down to my gums. Because I had surgery, so I can't actually talk very well. It's been quite a few days now, it's nearly been a week. I'm in a lot of pain, so I sound a bit funny and I'm more lispy than usual. It's because my mouth is all stitched up. Exciting times. But I hope you enjoyed this. This is a response to someone who sent me a request video asking for me to do a video about gifts for academics. And I thought, well, you know what, I'm going to give a more organic version of gifts for academics, which is the academic who doesn't want any gifts. If you're someone who relates to this about not wanting gifts, send it to someone who needs a bit of prompting. If you like getting gifts, I hope you get all the gifts you want this season. If you don't want any gifts, I hope no one gives you anything. Because that's all we want for Christmas, is someone to actually listen to us. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you found this video enjoyable. If you did, please consider liking and subscribing and leaving a comment down below. Thank you so much, and I will see you soon for another video. And remember, books save lives, so keep reading.